Hey, it's another episode of Rogan Radio back in the studio tonight after Thanksgiving, after Black and Blue Friday, when people went out there and beat the living bejesus out of each other. I tell you what, did you see some of the videos?
Yeah.
Listen, why do people go crazy like that over shit that they normally wouldn't buy anyway? I don't understand it.
They're saving like $5 and they're beating each other.
A lot of them are from other countries nowadays because there was barely any stores opening up on Friday at like 4 in the morning or whatever.
Right.
Almost all the stores were opened up on whatever,
like 4 or 5
Brown Thursday or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Brown Thursday.
You had just enough time to get your food down.
I know, it's
off to the
ridiculous.
store to
You
buy your
need to
stuff.
stay home, spend time with family.
You know, absolutely. And they rush it. Hell, they had Christmas stuff out at most of the stores around here before Halloween was even going on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I mean? And Thanksgiving's like the lost anymore. It seems like it's like the lost holiday. I mean,
Yeah.
you have Halloween. Everybody gets so excited
Halloween,
in October.
Christmas.
And then the hell, people were decorating for Christmas, and it wasn't a week out of Halloween yet. I'm like, my goodness, give yourselves a break. Don't get tired of that stuff. And Lord forbid if you buy a tree on October, 1st, by the time December 1st comes around, it's going to be absolutely thrown off. And then all of a sudden, you get to December 25th, and all of a sudden, bang, and then a lot of people don't celebrate the 12 days of Christmas on the 26th. They take all that stuff down.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's crazy, man.
When do you take your Christmas tree down, by the way?
December 26th.
Do you? Why?
No.
Because you put it up December 1st?
No,
we wait till
it
like
depends.
the first of the year or something.
Either New Year's or like after the 7th because it's like the Russian Christmas.
12 days of Christmas.
Are you Russian?
It's that's old Christmas.
I like to be.
It's old
I like to
Christmas.
rush.
Oh.
And
Now, how about this? On New Year's Day, do you? Is it New Year's Day? We've always done it on it's always been pork and sauerkraut for good luck.
that's usually New Year's Eve we eat that.
You eat it on New Year's Eve. No wonder you always have bad luck.
What the hell makes a difference?
Listen, no, I can tell you is who's got good luck and who's got bad luck. Maybe you should try it on the 1st.
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, you take your tree down on the 26th, you put that thing up on December 1st, you eat the sauerkraut and pork on New Year's Eve.
Don't tell me how to
my
superstition
favorite favorite dinner of the year, Christmas Eve. We get a nice big ham,
Yeah, we're doing a ham.
kibasi in it.
Yeah.
Kibasi in your ham?
I put it
That
around the ham.
That must be a Polish thing because you are a Wisniewski. You know what?
No,
You know what?
I like
That's
to put
why. Listen, and I don't know if you know this or not. You know why Christmas is Jimmy's favorite holiday?
Why?
Because it's so close in winter. There's a lot of snow. His last name is he's Polak, so you got ski. So of course he's going to be skiing. Wisnes, they do a lot of skiing over there.
Why you keep going like this?
Because you got poles in your hand as you're going down the hill.
Only
man.
people on the video are going to be able to see that. But if you are watching on the video, the reason we have all these sweatshirts and everything is because Chuck likes to keep it about 61 or so in here.
Yeah, it's very cold in
Did you
here.
notice last week I turned your furnace up just a little bit?
Yeah, you know what? I turned it off as soon as you left, so no, I didn't. I didn't notice that.
I turned it up about 5 degrees, so it was about 60.
I almost want to wear
that wasn't
shoes
last
just
week. That was
because
the
my
week
toes
before,
get
though.
cold.
a week before.
That was the week before. Yeah, I did notice that. And I was ready to beat your ass. And I'll be kindly enough to give you my gas bill from Lumberport and Shinston Gas, LNS Gas, when I get that thing.
I got my own bills. I don't need yours.
I know you do. But tonight, listen, we want to thank everybody for having us down at the Turkey Trot. We had a fantastic time
Yeah,
down
it was
there.
a good time.
It was absolutely amazing because one of the big things we were worried about is not only having everything down there, but how we were going to get set up because the way Shinston is, there was only one outlet ports to go, and we knew the main runners, the big wigs, the heavy hitters, they were going to be. And listen, the guy that won that thing, thank God, Jimmy, that you had the wherewithal that you went back to the start-finish line when you did, because listen, I wasn't even down on whatever they call that down there, Railroad Boulevard or whatever that is down there by the train tracks. And that guy was done already.
Well, who was it? Somebody said that he had ran that thing like once or twice
He
before
ran
the
it
actual
twice.
race.
Twice before it even
Just
started.
to warm himself up.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that guy was
And they
gone.
finished in
Ashley was telling us that.
1542 or something like that.
Yeah, that was a good year, by the way, for wine. 1542.
You don't even know where we're going.
Yeah, a nice
You can't
Merlot from
You
1542.
can't afford wine like that.
Oh, no, I cannot.
This reminds me of Thanksgiving.
Now we're, what do they call that stuff now? What's the dance that they do? Twerking it or something? Is that the latest one?
Oh, the
We need to call it turking it since it's so close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What is it? The whip and nay nay or whatever it is.
Whipping name.
Did you guys go do any hunting or anything like that?
Negative.
No, I didn't take any time for hunting this year.
Listen, why do you keep touching my phone?
I'm just arranging, bruh.
There is no reason to touch my phone.
Bruh.
We have a great show lined up for you tonight. We're going to talk to Tony. He's from Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, to be quite exact. As Todd would say, Tucson, because he thinks he can always get his tan there. But Tony, we met Tony from, we had a quad contest in June where we had our Q500s, and he made his own, and we made our own, and that's how we actually became in contact.
You know what I
with each
think
other.
you should do? For the listeners, I think you should post our drone contest on Rogan Radio.
Actually, I'll do that, and I'll have Tony's. But we're going to have Tony on here because the big thing now, if you noticed, we unveiled the new tech that Rogan Radio bought, the 360-degree camera. These things are just absolutely amazing how they
really
work.
cool.
They're absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just like one camera. At least this one is. It's a
Everybody's
360
mind
fly.
is blown.
Oh, blown. And basically, you just take your phone around and you look around, which is it's going to go into a virtual reality thing. I know Sony's coming out next year with Project Morpheus, where you'll be able to play these games. And have you seen Valkyrie yet for the PS4?
No.
Oh shit! Listen, we're going to have to put that on there. We're going to have to watch this because it's going to make you seasick. But it's going to be one of the most immersive games you ever played.
And this will be with the goggle looking thing.
It's going to be it's going to be Lawnmower Man stuff. I mean, you're going to put this stuff on, and you're just going to be
what a classic movie.
You're just going to be playing all around, and it's just absolutely going to be fantastic.
Can I sit down and do it, or
I'll
have
be
to stand
tripping
up?
No,
all
you
over
have to.
stuff.
No, you can sit down. It's more of head movement
Because
stuff like that.
I don't want to run.
Then they have that. You sent me that thing with the VR. What
The
was
Void.
The Void out in Utah. It's
that's
like
cool.
Now the doors actually open in I think it said 2017. It could be next year, but I'm pretty sure it said. I'll have to look at that. I think it's 2017. But basically, this is like an amusement. I don't want to say an amusement park, but it's a big thing with all these different stations in it and different experiences. And you go in, and it's all virtual reality. And the scary thing is, listen, there's going to be a lot of good things come out of this. But it's going to be a lot of bad, too, because you know how immersed people are with their cell phones and Facebook, and that's all they do, and they can go on vacation, and they don't actually see anything around them unless it's through the lens on their camera.
Yeah.
Now imagine nobody leaving their house, especially when it gets big, and because they have these things on their heads, and probably things they put on their ding-dongs and everything else. I mean, it's going to be...
That's true, too.
You know what I mean?
Because
You're
when
never
you go
gonna-
into that thing, they have actual studios set up so that whatever you see in that, when you touch it, there's going to be something, in the real world to feel to remind you of that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sound effects, different things.
And you've seen these 3D, like Ripley's things.
Heat, wind, rain.
Or these 3D motion roller coasters or whatever. And they give you the perception. I mean, you're in a ride. You're not even it's not even 360 degrees in your peripheral vision or anything, but
And you
yet it makes you
still
feel
feel
like
like
it.
it, yeah.
Right, right. So you can imagine what these things. But anyway, we're going to talk to Tony about that. We'll talk to him. He's a big Battlefront guy, too, by the way.
Oh, yes. He must be a cool guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we'll talk to him about that. And you know what? Listen, I'm just going to move it because you keep touching my cell phone. And
You're not my dad!
you know what? I don't know why you have to always touch things. You know what? I'm going to talk to your mother.
If you don't put something there to touch, then I'll have to touch myself. I'll have to touch myself.
Listen, man. Go wash your hands or something.
Oh, my goodness, big boy.
Oh, listen. We all know that's a lie.
I know, right?
Listen.
Oh, my goodness. Hold on, I need both hands for this one.
Listen, dude. What are you doing? You grabbing your car keys out of your pants or something?
Exactly.
That's disgusting.
Feels like a 20-ounce pop bottle. Let's go.
Probably is.
Yeah. Mine's
You know what?
like
I want to apologize.
16.9 ounces.
I want to apologize for all the new viewers or listeners that we have, that we've gained in the last couple of weeks because we probably just lost a third of them. Because everybody knows, being from the area, that Todd's exaggerating somewhat.
Just a little bit.
Anyway.
Not a whole lot, just a little bit.
More than
Anyway, we're going to get Tony on the line. We're going to talk to him next. If you're interested in this virtual reality stuff, and you should be, because it's brand new. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's
People
going
are
to change your
Listen,
life.
you've seen it on the YouTube, and you've seen it on the Facebook. I mean, those are the things right now. I mean, it's not necessarily virtual reality, but it's going to be the same technology to where you move your phone around, you can swipe your finger on the camera, move all that around. We're going to post a picture tonight, a little video that you'll be able to see of that. So check that out. You're listening to Rogan Radio. All right, we're back on Rogan Radio, and listen, man, one of the big things now we've been talking about is virtual reality. you know what? We've seen it with the 360 cameras now. I know Project Morpheus for the PlayStation. You have Oculus Rift. Zuckerberg's doing this thing with. I think he's probably all started it all with Facebook to an extent. Google's got their Google Cardboard. Samsung Gear came out where you can put your. I think it's the. You can't use it on the 5, but like the 6 and stuff like that. It's got to be a certain size phone, and you can use this thing. It's like $100,
Yeah.
but it kind of, I guess, fools your mind a little bit in how things are being recorded now. And because of that, a guy that we met in June, Tony from Tucson, Arizona. Tony, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Tony.
Listen, Tony, we met Tony in a quad contest. You still flying any quads, Tony?
Actually am not anymore. I recently just sold mine, but I'm looking to get another one in the future. I know.
Now you upgraded to you upgraded to the 4K, right? The 500 4K.
Yeah.
How was that
Yes, I
thing
did.
compared to the original?
Well, it's almost like night and day to me. I mean, it's the same type of flyability. It's really easy, and it takes just a few minutes to set up. But the color and detail was so good. It was just like a whole new experience, really.
It's absolutely amazing how they're doing that, what they're doing that stuff now. And what you did, what Jimmy was talking about when we were just getting everything lined up, that the video you made for the quad contest called the Desert Drop. We're going to put that in there. If you don't mind, we're going to throw this into the actual video that we're doing for the podcast so everybody can check that thing out.
Yeah, sure, not a problem.
But listen, whose Nissan was that? What car are you driving in out of that whole deal? Where did all these cars come from? Where did this inspiration for you come out of?
This actually, it's kind of a funny story. All of those kids work with me at the movie theater. I work at a local movie theater down here. And, big thing with the teenagers, especially down in Tucson, is, everybody's got to have the nicest car. Everybody's got to have, the fastest, the coolest looking, all that stuff. So those are actually all of my buddies from work, and they all own those cars. So the 350Z, the red car, all of that is all of their cars. And I was just sitting around one day and was talking to them about, how they were talking about all their buddies racing and all this and that. And then, one day I drove up to work and I saw somebody had a 350Z, and I was like, that better be a customer's, because if there's a 16-year-old kid that has a 350Z,
Yeah, I was gonna say, how are all these kids? I was like, the movie theater must be paying good.
Yeah.
That's why popcorn's $15 a bucket, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's the secret. Nobody tells you that. But, but yeah, so, I was just listening to them talk about all these racing and all of this stuff, and that's where I kind of got the idea. I was like, you know what if I made some sort of movie that was completely serious and then had a completely different, comical tone at the middle of it.
Yeah, the whole sandwich thing. Now let me ask you this, Tony. Did you know about the contest before you made this, or did you know about the contest and then you were just sitting there trying to think, what am I going to do? And then you saw this car and you said, that's what I'm going to do.
This was specifically after I heard about the contest. I mean, I'm a filmmaker anyway, and I make all kinds of films a lot, and I heard about the contest, and
Not the kind of Todd
at the time, I used a Panasonic GH4, which is another 4K DSLR, and I also have a GoPro. So everything I used was 4K, and I was like, you know what? If I can have 4K on the ground and waterproof, I might as well have one in the air. So
yeah,
I started thinking about it, and that's kind of where it came up from. So
listen, you did a great job too.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
As far as there was one video that might have been just a tad better, but you came a real tight second, Tony.
You know what, Tony? He's talking about the one that we put up there. He's a little biased about that, of course.
You did a fantastic.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm still kind of surprised. I'm not taking anything away, and we're going back to this Q500 contest just for a second while we are talking about it. Not taking anything away from the winner, but you know what? I mean, and now this is a personal opinion.
I share
I
your
think
feelings.
everybody shared that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Tony, and you put a lot of effort into it just because you have that eye, that you're a filmmaker. So you know all the little camera angles, things like that, right? You're not using necessarily a computer to generate and that was the big problem I had about the actual winners. That hell, anybody could go get a computer and throw some stuff on there with graphics and things, and wow. But what did that show as far as the quad goes? You know what I mean?
Exactly. The original contest rules said, show us why this is the ultimate filmmaking and traveling bundle. And so I thought, well, I can do ground shots, I can do air shots, and that would show people that are potentially invested. They want to maybe get a drone in the future. that, you know, like, oh wow, I can take it off and put it on the ground and walk around with it, or I could throw it on the air.
Yeah,
and you know,
what?
nothing against
Go ahead,
the
Tim.
first place. Okay, sorry, nothing against the first place guy, but you know, I honestly thought that, you know, if there was a visual effects competition with the Unique, that would have probably tore it out of the water, because the visual effects were pretty good.
Right.
And although I kind of thought I was on LSD when I was watching it,
Yeah, right.
You did.
you know, I didn't really see how it kind of showed that it's the ultimate drone. I mean, you know, if you would have watched that video, you would have not known that it was the Q500. It could have been anybody's.
You know what? To be quite honest with you, I don't really necessarily know if you would have even known it was for a quad.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
really.
could have been somebody's camcorder, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you know what, Tony? I remember when they were talking about the rules and explaining, you know, this is what we want to see, and I remember them very specifically saying, listen, we don't want to see flyovers on cornfields and sit, because we've seen that 100 times. We don't want to see that. And what you put up there is exactly what they wanted to see. And in my opinion, Chuck probably shares this sentiment. What we put up there,
something original.
We tried to give them exactly what they wanted in combination with the drone and the handheld. And you know what? How did either one of these videos not win? I just don't understand.
Or even
exactly.
Even Livingston had a good one on there. He did his I can't remember the name of it. With the
was that the New England one?
No. The one with the daggone Livingston had the one with the dog in there, Marley, or some shit like that,
where the dog was lost and got reunited with the family.
That was good.
That really was a good one, though.
That was funny, man. Hey, but anyway, No, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Knock yourself out.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of good videos on there, especially from our little group that I saw. That, you know, I was like, wow, these ones. I mean, I remember there was somebody that had one that was like a kind of Indiana Jones themed, and I was like, oh man, that's a good one. And you know, I was like, well, you know, this is gonna be crazy. And then, you know, after seeing the winner and then the outrage, I mean, there was a bunch of people that were just tearing Unique apart.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. But anyways.
Well, listen, as a little backdrop, because nobody knows, you know, let's introduce who you are. I mean, give us a little background on like, say you said you were doing some filmmaking. I mean, I've been kind of watching a lot of your stuff. Give us a little background on that, and where can we watch? Because you just had like some kind of I don't know if you want to call them festivals or showings. What do you call them when you take your shows out or your movies out like that, your shorts, and you show them off?
Yeah, it was a film festival. I mean, they have screenings and festivals and all different types of things like that. But basically, so I am, I'm a filmmaker. I go to U of A down here in Tucson. It's a great film program. I had no idea it even existed until about 2 weeks before school started, and I was kind of one of those late bloomers that was like, you know what, let's go for it, and got in, and it's been awesome so far. I've learned way more than I would have than, you know, just sitting on a computer watching YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
So, I started out kind of getting into a fascination with photography. My dad and my mom have always been photographers, and they just do it for fun. My dad kind of is a little bit more serious, and he's won, you know, a few contests back in the 80s and stuff for lighting, because if people are listening aren't too familiar with Arizona, we have some pretty killer monsoons and lighting and all that fun stuff. So I started playing with cameras with his stuff and got more and more interested in it. And then after working at the movie theater for over 5 years now, I just got interested in the whole experience, you know, from the very beginning till the visual effects. And I initially wanted to do animation, but then I changed over to film after I realized that I can't even draw anything better than a stick figure. So
that might cause a problem.
Do you have like a central place? Do you have your stuff posted up so where people can check you out? Is it on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, if you just go on youtube.com/ownage003, OWNAGE, and then 003. That's where I pretty much post everything that I've done. I kind of like to have that as a look back, because there's stuff that I've had on there for years ago that's horrible, and then, you know, as I get older and learn more and more, you know, every film progresses, and that's what's cool, awesome about filming, is that you learn everything every time. Every time you do something, you learn more and more.
Well, that's what's funny, because when we first started this podcast, Tony, we were, it was like, listen. What happens now in 6 months is going to sound like shit. We're going to look back and think, man, this really sounds so cheesy and stupid. Because, like you said, each episode or each time you do something, you get a little bit better. You learn a little bit more tricks. You can become more efficient. Maybe your eyes get a little bit better. Maybe you have different, whatever it might be. But you constantly get better. Well, at least you hope so. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what is this, episode 7 now?
For us, yes.
For,
Hey,
Yeah, so-
speaking
so
about
10 or 12 or 6 more months, we'll probably be sounding pretty good.
yeah, maybe 6 or 7 years, maybe perhaps.
Yeah.
Speaking of episode 7, how jazzed are you for episode 7?
Well, for the actual movie itself, I can't wait. I have been, I do a lot of impersonations a lot of the times, and so I've been annoying most of my coworkers with Kylo Ren and his voice.
Well,
when
do
he
it.
says,
Do it,
Okay.
Tony.
"Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started." And then every time the trailer comes on in the lobby, I'll just look at whoever's talking to me, and then I'll say that. And they're like, "What are you
man.
talking about, man?" And
They're like, God
And-
damn, Tony, stop.
It's-
Enough with the Kylo
Tony
Ren.
again.
Can't this movie come and go already?
yeah. But anyways, it's I can't wait for the film. I've been a big fan of the series since I've grown up. I mean, obviously I wasn't around when they first premiered, but I got introduced to it at an early age, and
Most of us
I'm looking at the the Blu-ray copies, sitting on my shelf, and Battlefront is also sitting right next to my TV. So, I can't wait. But I will say, I'm not looking too forward to working it.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
it's-
Now, Tony, is it a big multiplex? You got like 15 shows in there. How big is?
So
how big
we're
is-
actually the location that I'm at now actually has 12 theaters. It's not exactly the busiest one in the company. I came from one of the busiest to a semi-busy one to one of the slower ones.
Yeah.
However, this is one of those movies that people will get drawn in that
No matter where
they
it's
don't
at.
go to movies that much anymore. These
Right.
are fans from the 80s. These are fans from all generations, and this is what people are going to spend their money on. And we've already seen that. I think there's last time I checked, there was $50 million in pre-sales.
Yeah.
I'm one of
A
them.
lot.
And-
Yeah, me too.
So the big
Man,
thing
so
is
it's
when
nuts.
are you going to be able to see it? Are you going to see it before everybody, or do you have to wait until
Yeah.
you're done working and
Hey,
finally
listen,
catch
Tony.
it?
Let me tell you something, man. If you're sitting that way, if you can line it up to where you're sitting in that on this like the 16th, and you're the only one in that theater watching this thing, I'm gonna be pissed, man.
We're coming to
Oh, no.
Tucson.
Yeah, it's I actually, it's kind of funny how Disney works. Sometimes we have the opportunities to see movies before they come out, and that's, I think, a common misconception between most people is that we see everything before it comes out, but in reality we don't. However, there are times that we do get to see it, and Disney is actually one of the companies that does not allow screenings of their movies at all.
Mhm.
So we will not get an employee screening, which is awesome, and sometimes we have contests and stuff, but as far as when I'm going to see it, I'm probably going to wait a week. I'm probably just going to, work my butt off and
Oh man, listen.
turn
how-
into a Jedi myself.
Listen, man. How are you going to shield yourself from any spoilers?
That's what I mean. And you work where everybody's, when they come out of that theater,
Yeah.
man, they're all going to be talking about
They're
it.
going to be like, "Oh my gosh, Han Solo's dead!"
Oh my God! And you're gonna have to sit there with your fingers
Listen,
in your ears,
just-
trying not to
Listen,
absorb any of
put
it.
a pair of Yoda ears or Spock ears on, and fill your ears up,
Yeah.
just so you don't have to hear that. Now, let me ask you this: how when film comes into a studio or a theater these days, when they say it's digital, is it actually digital? I mean, in the sense,
Yeah.
what's the medium? I mean, how do you is it film? I mean, it can't be film. I mean, what's
Well,
it
I know
on?
episode 7 is being shot on film, but is
They'll
going to be
probably transfer
projected.
it over, yeah.
I mean, what's that like when you get something in the mail or whoever delivers it? I mean, what is it?
So it's actually a hard drive. It's kind of like a similar hard drive like you could buy at the store. It's obviously a little bit more different, and there's it's really funny how it works. They're really secure on it. You basically just download it into a giant server, and the server has all these movies that you can pick from a list. We used to have film, and used to have projections that would do all of that stuff, and just go that route. But a couple of years ago, our company converted to digital, as is most other companies. And so you download it from the hard drive, and then there's a thing called a key. It's basically just a little code that you enter, and the keys usually unlock like the night before or 2 nights before the premiere at a certain time. and we'll input that key, and then that allows us to watch the movie. And then we have to build the trailers, and it's really easy. I mean, I'm not a projectionist yet, but I know how the process goes, and you basically just kind of, for our system anyway, drag and drop stuff, and
Right.
So like if you want, I could put the Star Wars trailer in front of Star Wars for whatever reason if I wanted to, like 7 times, and people would have to deal with it.
Oh
But,
wow, man! So I mean, it's pretty neat how that stuff is now. So now let me ask you this though: when it comes to all that, I'm sure there's all kinds. I mean, like there's like the security of it, right? So like, let me ask you this: if you have, say, like you have 12 cinemas, and then you want to show Star Wars in all 12 cinemas. Now, is each cinema, you can't use that one hard drive. I mean, are you buying it by the theater or by the show? I mean, there's got to be some kind of royalty on that. That's what I mean. I don't know. How do they measure
Or
that?
if you download it to that one server, will it just take each theater take it from
That's what I mean. And so, like, if you played, it's all kind of fail-safe to where then you take the hard drive, you ship it back, and they said, okay, this is how many times it's been played and on so many theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we actually have the opportunity now. That was kind of one of the big things about switching over from film to digital, is that we have the ability to put these movies on as many projectors as we wanted to. So with some of the bigger movies, back in the day, like Hunger Games and Twilight and all that stuff, we used to have 12 or 13 theaters open that would show that at the same time, or throughout the night, and it works fine. It doesn't have any kind of like one show at a time kind of thing. And
Wow,
we usually get they call them prints. I mean, obviously they're not prints anymore because they're just on a hard drive, but we'll get different copies of prints that allows us to kind of, I think there's like, depending on what movie it is, there could be like 3 to 5, and that helps out also with streaming. So we have like for example a 3D print, and then there's a 2D print, and then we'll get a couple of the each, and then we can throw them out to whichever theater we want to. And
That's
so
wild. Now,
it's pretty cool.
As a reference, because I don't think people realize how much it costs to get a copy of a movie. Like, say, Star Wars. If I own Rogan Theater and I want to show Star Wars at that theater, how much is it going to cost me for me to get that hard drive to show it on my screens?
Well, it really just depends. I mean, I don't have an actual number, but there's a person at our corporate office who they work on distribution deals with the companies, and if there is not a deal that's going to be met, we won't show the movie. So there's
right.
For example, the newest Paranormal Activity. We never reached a deal with the distribution company, which I think was Paramount or something. I don't know. And so we didn't show it at all, which for me, I was like, man, because I'm a big fan of the series. But I think with some movies, they're a little bit more lenient. I mean, I think we all know whether the movie's good or bad, it's going to blow anything out of the water, and it's going to be a huge box office hit. If the movie sucks, it's still going to be a hit.
Sure, it is.
Everyone wants to see it.
Yeah.
Well, hell, I mean, look what Battlefront. I mean, just a video game. I mean, that thing's going crazy. And you know what? Just while I'm thinking about it, when you said that you had 4, 5, and 6 on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, I don't know. I just read this story that you cannot buy. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. Don't know. But you cannot buy an unmastered copy of 4, 5, and 6 anywhere.
You could, unless you go to a yard sale
Or
and find it on
remastered or
VHS
whatever you would want to call it. But
with the new add-ins and stuff.
Yeah,
just the original theatrical release.
like the original 4, 5, and 6, the way it was cut in 77, 80, or whatever, 83 or
I have it
whatever.
on VHS.
Yeah, I'll give you $100 for all of them.
But you know what? You can't find those things anymore.
Yeah.
You can't buy them. I mean, you literally can't buy them.
Well,
But
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that works. I mean, I believe we have the VHS copies too, as a lot of other people probably do from the all the fans and everything. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they would change that, because you would think somebody would be like, well, here's how it is when I went to the theaters, and then now it's like, well, here's how it is with special effects that we didn't have in the 70s, and they just throw like a monster in there.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, because that's the I love 4, 5, and 6. I mean, where they can I watch those things and see all kinds of graphic, but I'm like, yeah, but that was 77. That was
Barely. When I watch it, I don't even think about that stuff. I'm like,
that's what I mean. I don't either. But then, but then the stuff that I don't like is when I watch the remastered stuff, like 4, 5, and 6. Then I'm thinking, okay, well, now it's looking like a lot of shit from 1, 2, and 3, and I don't want that.
no.
Honest to God, I tried to watch Phantom Menace the other night, and we had this discussion last week. Tony, about 4, 5, and 6, and then the kind of the contrast with 1, 2, and 3. Tree. But it's just like, I try to watch that. I try to watch The Phantom Menace, and there's parts of Phantom Menace that I absolutely love. But
like
there's
the
so many
Darth Maul fight scene or something. Yeah,
there are
great.
so many parts where I watch it, just like that Jar Jar thing, and everybody talks about it, and I was like, my God, I can't watch this shit because of this Jar Jar thing. I just can't do it.
It's funny that you brought that up, because I was actually going to say, how am I going to avoid spoilers and stuff? Well, I was just going to say, I could probably just talk to people in that voice and they'll just run away. So,
You know what?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Have you seen it yet? No, me not seen it.
Oh, that was terrible.
I'll tell you what.
That was great, Tony.
You know what? We're going to talk about virtual reality in a minute, Tony. Listen, I could talk to you all night, man, but I'm going to keep you. Todd keeps playing with the phone for some reason. One question, real quick, and I've been up to this point using everything on as far as home editing goes on, or video editing goes on a Windows machine, and that's like pulling your teeth out of your head sometimes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're an Apple guy when it comes to that, right?
I'm actually both. Right now my computer is a Windows, but at school I edit on Mac, and so it just depends.
Now, if you're going to do, like, listen, I'm not doing what you're doing. I mean, you're doing professional stuff, but one thing that I don't like, I mean, now granted, it's a couple-year-old computer. My RAM's not very high, but that's the problem with Windows, is that it just seems like every 6 months, and all of a sudden with these new programs coming out, then you don't have that. As much as I don't like Apple in some aspects, there's a lot of things I like about Apple, just for the mere fact that they don't let you get so far ahead of the machine. The machines are kind of, you don't have 18 different thousand versions of the same machine. I mean, there's only going to be so many machines, and you have to design for those machines, or you're not going to be able to put them on those machines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you do your editing, at school and stuff like that with those Macs, I mean, is it pretty efficient, or do you still have the slow down and bog downs and everything else that you do with a regular Windows machine?
So nowadays, since everything is changing, like we said earlier, tomorrow I could have a new computer and it would be way faster than anything. The computers that we have at school, and then the one I have now, they're very good. We have variations of machines at school. We have some that are just editing monsters, and these are the Mac Pros, I think they are. They look like, honestly, they look like a little trash can. It's like
like a little cylinder, right?
Trash can.
Them things are like,
and those
things are like $7,000 or $8,000 or something like that, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like, I think 3 to 5K, and it's just for the little trash can, and then you have to buy a monitor too.
But listen, these machines are built just for that, right? For what you do for editing. That's what they're
known for.
Yeah.
That's why everybody uses them.
Right.
But if you were to buy just, a little laptop at Best Buy or Walmart or something, whether it's Mac or PC, generally most of them can handle these type of things pretty well. You just have to look for, the big things are the processor, the video card, and the RAM. So, if you have something that's going to be, 2 gigs of RAM and a Intel Core 2 Duo processor, that's probably not going to do that great. But now if you find something that's got maybe 4 gigs of RAM and an Intel i3 or i5 or higher, you'll probably do fine. Now, the higher the RAM and the higher the processor power, the better things are going to work. So, for example, my computer is 16 gigs of RAM.
Damn.
It's got a 1 gig video card, which is, in today's standards, pretty low. And it's got an i7 processor, and it handles 4K footage, no problem.
So that's what I was going to ask you now, is that how when you had that 4K, I mean, when you were playing with 4K, because I wouldn't even, my computer, I would not even be, I have a hard enough trouble with 1080p as far as rendering time. And a lot of it depends on the software too, you know what I mean? But oh my God, 4K, you know what? The file size alone would be just ginormous.
Yep. And so there's a couple things you can do to combat that, and I've done most of them and seen the difference. Like, it's once again night and day. For the 4K footage, what I always suggest people that are new to editing or anybody that wants to learn editing, I always say, either if you're a student, get the student discount, or if not, get the low monthly fee. You can get Adobe Creative Cloud. That's what I use. They have Premiere Pro, Photoshop, After Effects, all that stuff. And you can learn, by YouTube tutorials. There's millions out there. But when I used to do 4K footage, what I would do is I would throw it into Premiere Pro, which is like the composition one. You just, you edit that way. and I would actually set the viewing as half. So my 4K footage would be displayed as 1080p, and my monitors are 1080p, and so I could edit all that 4K footage, and it would still, do everything just as normal as it would. Whereas,
Right.
Instead of the computer trying to process all this 4K footage, it's processing it as 1080, but it's still 4K. And
Right.
then when you export it, boom. And then, for all the footage I have, including my internal drive, I have four hard drives. I have a 3 terabyte hard drive. I have a 1 terabyte, and then I think another terabyte plus the terabyte in my computer. So I have terabytes on terabytes of external, supplies that I throw the footage on, and it helps the computer a lot.
Oh yeah, man.
I used to use Studio all the time, and then I started getting a lot of hang-ups when I started doing 1080 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I mean, it's just so well, it just, it depends when you get it. Like right now, the big thing is going to be this 360 video and this virtual reality kind of stuff and all that. You know what? 4K was enough. I mean, 4K is relatively new, just like 1080p and 720p were just a couple years ago. And unless you had one of the very elite machines, you weren't going to play with it. And
and I think everything will catch up with the 4K.
Eventually it will. Eventually it will. Now, Tony, this last thing, we'll let you get the hell out of here. You've had some experience with, I was going to say Project Morpheus, but it's Oculus Rift, the virtual reality thing that Facebook's putting out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've had experience with a lot of virtual reality, over the last few years. I have right now the Google Cardboard, and that's just a little $20 thing you could buy for, your iPhones or any other kind of smartphone. And then I also have used Oculus Rift, and I've also done the Samsung VR, and it's honestly the coolest thing I've ever done.
Now, seriously, this is going to be the next big thing, I think.
We hope so.
For gamers like us, we're console gamers.
Well, I mean, it's just like because it's so easy. I mean, and I think what's going to be the problem, while at the same time be pretty cool, it's going to be very addicting once people get into it. Now, how did you like the VR? Or, I mean, the gear, the Samsung Gear stuff?
So the Samsung Gear is actually it's pretty cool. When you have your headphones in and you're looking around, it's really, really, really cool. I mean, it's pretty cool that we have a consumer level device at $100 and you have virtual reality. You don't have to worry about spending a whole bunch of money on it, and it's very, very user friendly. It's simple to use, and it's somebody that has no idea what they're doing with technology. Like my dad or grandpa, I could buy it for them, and I'd be able to teach them how to do it. Hopefully, anyway, in like an hour.
Now, like when it comes to the gear and it comes to Google Cardboard, does it literally fool your brain? I mean, are you fooled by it?
I mean, with those ones, no, because I have a little thing over my head, and like with Google Cardboard, all I have to do is just move it away from my face.
Right.
Samsung VR a little bit more, but not as much. The one that completely fools me is Oculus, and that one is probably the best experience I've gotten so far, and it's also the most expensive, but I can see why. We went to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas a couple of years ago. We stood in line for about an hour and a half to try out Oculus because everybody wants to try it out. And
sure.
It's the next big thing, and they had several different demonstrations that I was just blown away. I mean, there was one that they put you on top of a roof in like a New York City, I don't know, like hundreds of years in advance, and there's flying cars and all that stuff. And you're standing on this ledge, but if you walk a little bit further, you'll essentially fall off the edge.
Oh, man.
And your brain is
obviously
saying, hey, I'm on top of this building, right? That's how it makes you feel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, you're not going to fall anywhere because you're standing on flat ground, but, you're in this world where it looks so real and it sounds and feels so real that, I honestly, I literally was on the ground, crouching, looking over the edge.
I guarantee you.
And it's even great for the people watching you because they can't see what you're seeing, but they see you crouching down. They see you looking over nothing.
Dude. But that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. And eventually that's going to be a mass-produced thing. It's like a CD player when they first came out at $600. I mean, these things not only are going to be expensive, but the processing, the computer to actually use the thing is going to be. You're going to have a pretty good powerhouse. But all that stuff's going to equal itself out in a year or two. Hell, by next Christmas, we'll all have one of them things on our heads.
Hopefully it just
Let's hope
doesn't.
so.
Yeah, hopefully it drops in time to actually utilize it, though. You know what I'm saying is, like, remember when we were younger and they started bringing out these virtual reality things? Remember, and you'd go to the mall and you'd go in that little ring and you'd walk around, and it was cool, but then it never caught on.
Right.
Because it was so
Yeah.
expensive and it never dropped in price to actually get out to the consumer.
Sure.
You know, it was just a fun thing at the mall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's so many different markets. Like you said, we have video games, we have movies, we have just experiences. And I've tried out the video game realm, and I found it to be, I think, the least attractive option because I've been a gamer since I've been growing up. I've
Right.
probably like 15 years now, and trying the virtual reality stuff with the games, it's cool, but it's really, really hard. And you have to think like, okay, instead of moving my face now, I'm looking where I need to go. And so instead of using your hands, you're just literally looking, and it's hard. It's really, really hard.
It's kind of
But-
backward for everything that you've learned up to this point. Yeah, it would be.
Exactly.
But for the next
But they-
generation, they'll be like, how did they play them games
Yeah.
without this? They sat there and had to look at it. That
So
was-
It's
old.
funny.
yeah.
It's funny though because they have I tried one that you just stand there and you hold a controller, but you also look around. But they also have ones now that I don't remember the name of it at the moment, but you can it straps you in this little like circular device, and you have a harness, and you can walk around
Yeah.
and game and do all that stuff. And
Absolutely, they do.
it's supposed to burn like 350 calories an hour, and it's awesome.
I'll be playing
So
that thing.
it's really
I'd be
excited to see what's
skinny.
going to happen.
That's fantastic, man. That's just crazy stuff. The stuff that they're coming up with is just bizarre. But hey, Tony, listen, we're going to let you go, man. We've been talking to you for freaking 30 minutes, man, but I appreciate you hanging with us and stuff. And if you want to, by all means,
Definitely.
anytime we have some questions or once again, tell us where we can find your stuff on the YouTube, Onage.
Yeah, so it's youtube.com/ownage003. And
So we're back on Rogan Radio, and as you know, like we like to talk about, it seems like every episode, and we're not going to stop talking about it until it comes out. Star Wars
Da-da-da-da.
comes out on the 18th. Jimmy's going to see it on the 17th. Thank goodness he is, because he's going to be in New York City on the 18th. Wow, that was a disaster.
You know what you should have did? You should have knocked out two birds, one stone. You should have saw the movie in New York.
Man, I don't know,
Because it would be different.
because it costs you about $20 a ticket.
I know, right?
Well, yeah.
And you know what? Pee Wee Herman was in New York, I think, when he was doing his thing.
I don't want to sit in his seat.
But anyway, what we're going to do right now is what we've been doing, and we might actually even have to try this. My goodness, he can't stop touching things. For crying out
Take it
loud.
all away.
What we're going to do is we're going to do a soundboard mix. We're starting to like these things. A lot of people are starting to like it. Once again, we haven't talked about it all night. Make sure you send us, and we even had some, damn it, and I didn't even pull it up to talk about it. Text messages at 681-222-ROGN. Be sure to call us on that number. You can text us on that number, leave a message or whatever. And you could even leave a response on our Facebook page. It's at Rogan Radio. You can respond to us on Twitter or Google Plus,
You
whatever.
can pull them up after this.
Yeah,
While
we
we're
might be able to do that.
I wish more people would do that.
We're actually getting a lot of them now.
Oh.
We're actually getting a lot of them now. We had one, and if I could pull it up real quick, but I'm not going to, because what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to do what a lot of people are liking, a lot of feedback. It's going to be a Star Wars soundboard mix. And what's going to happen here, Todd and I are going to basically have a conversation using soundboards. we're going to have a conversation back and forth, and we're just going to see how this works. It might suck, it might not. So we're just going to see, because we just don't know what's going to happen. And we're just going to see. All right, Jimmy, give me some love music, baby.
Do it. Oh.
All right, you going to quit talking so we can do this?
Use a good kiss.
You're training.
I just assumed it's a Wookiee.
I know. I happen to like nice men.
I can arrange that.
Are you an angel?
Everything is soft.
I thought that was going
Everything is soft.
I thought that we had decided not to fall in love.
and smooth.
I happen to like nice men.
Hold me. Like you did by the lake on Naboo.
I can arrange that.
You're a funny little boy.
All right.
I know. I'm not trembling.
I love you.
You like me because I'm a scoundrel. There are enough scoundrels in your life.
All right, well, that was that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that put me in the mood. Okay, that's all I can tell you.
We'll probably never do
We'll never
that
use that one again. But we might. It just depends. It gets better each time, just like this podcast, allegedly. I guess.
Says who? Says who?
Well, that's a great point. But
Yeah.
tonight is the you guys are really excited for the Walking Dead stuff. I mean, I've yet to-
Tonight is the mid-season finale.
Just don't ever watch Chuck unless you watch it from the beginning. First season sets the tone for everything.
So now are you also watching the Dead After Walking
Fear
Dead
the
thing?
Walking Dead. Oh,
Yeah.
Talking Dead.
Oh, the Talking
Whatever
Dead.
that-
the
I
talk
don't-
show.
I
Yeah.
don't watch that.
Now, what the hell's? I mean, how much Walking Dead stuff is this? Like the Duck Dynasty now, where Duck Dynasty was everywhere, and then now it's Walking Dead,
Dead's been on for now. This is what, sixth season.
Mhm,
So it's
that's
been around
like
for
it.
6 years. It's been
and it's just
that's good stuff. Man.
It's actually a really good show, is it really? Let me tell you something.
It's like a dude soap opera.
Hey, do a Google for this real quick, Todd. It's called Man on the High. Oh, I've been watching it on Hulu.
Last Man on Earth.
No, Man in the High Castle or something like that.
And,
Is that a new
right
one?
There it is.
Yeah.
It looks new. Yeah, I saw
Let me
that.
tell you, the whole premise of this story, and it was on Hulu, not Hulu, Amazon. What happens is that the United States doesn't win World War II.
Yeah, and everything's
Yeah,
based
it's-
off of Germany.
Well, it says it's
winning.
set in 1962, 15 years after
Right.
the alternative
Right.
ending
and you
of
have
World War II.
the West Coast, the Japanese have, the East Coast, the Germans have, and it's turned out to be a really good. Get it. the Japanese had the West Coast or the west side of the United States, and the Germans had the eastern side. And I watched. Listen, I'm captivated by it.
So it's
Absolutely
already
captivated.
on? Because I must have missed the
Yeah,
first
no, listen.
episode.
I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Is it a Hulu exclusive?
It's,
like
it's
a
on
Netflix?
Amazon. It's an Amazon
Oh,
thing. You know, it seems like anymore in the best kind of shows. You know how for a long time HBO and Showtime, they had their own shows that they produced, which is better than
Yeah,
anything
like
you can really
Netflix
watch.
does, too, now.
Absolutely, Netflix does, Hulu does, and now Amazon's starting to get into that foray, I guess. And this Man in the High Castle. Let me tell you something, man. It's fantastic. It really
Well, for most
is
people
good.
that don't know, I mean, they almost won the war. It was
no,
close.
listen,
I mean,
absolutely.
until we bombed Japan and a few battles over there, I mean, it was really close.
Oh, listen, we're just getting destroyed. I mean, really, and then in all for technical purposes, Germany was already beat by the time we got over there because of the Russians. But if Hitler would have came out with like the jet before whatever the Messerschmitt was, or the nuke or whatever it was, you know what, man, it could have been a whole different ball game.
Yeah, he just showed up a little late to the game for that one right there. For the jet. That thing would have turned the tide.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. We'll
Maybe.
never know. We'll never know. But I can tell you this television show, once again, it's on Amazon. Now, is it on? Where could you actually? Do you have Amazon Prime?
I don't. I'm gonna have to get that.
Now, see, I don't know if it is. See if is that only on Amazon Prime? Because that's where I'm watching it. And the thing is,
I've seen it advertised a lot, though.
well, that's what I mean. And I've been watching it, and I was like, well, hell, this because I just started seeing advertisements for it, right? I mean, not too long ago, but hell, I get on Amazon Prime, and they're all there. I mean, the entire. I don't know if it's already done.
They probably do it like that. Then, like Netflix will come out with a whole season at one time. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
18
it was
shows or whatever.
it was released by Amazon Studios. It says
is that where it's over? The only place you could watch it's on Amazon.
well, that's kind of what it looks like. It's an Amazon green light.
Well, what's this stuff in the beginning in 2010?
BBC announced it would produce a 4-part TV adaptation of The Man in the High
Yeah, well, that's
Castle.
why. I mean, this is. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, this is an absolute series, and I couldn't even tell you how many different shows. I mean, I was kind of taken aback because they're all literally 1 hour, and they're like maybe 12 of them right now, and I'm like, wow, and
First season.
it's I mean, tell you something, and it's because it's kind of fascinating anyway for whatever reason. Just like when we talk about Call of Duty wanting to go back to World War II, there's something fascinating about fighting Nazis and that whole, you know, if World War II was a fashion show, you know what, the Nazis would have won because they all had those cool, they had a cool looking uniform. I mean, just like what they used in, they were so cool, in fact, that's what George Lucas modeled after the Empires, everything in the Empire
Well,
is.
one of the executive producers is Ridley Scott. So what's that tell you?
I don't even know who really
Ridley
Scott
Scott.
is.
you did all
and
the
did like
aliens.
aliens and
Oh, okay. Well, there you go then. I didn't know that. I don't listen.
Prometheus, my favorite
Oh,
movie.
well, then it's already a.
Yeah.
I'm not
Shut
gonna
up.
watch
They're making
that.
another
He doesn't
one.
like that.
They're not making another.
I
one.
like
Prometheus.
it.
I did too.
Shows the beginning.
We should go watch it right now.
Prometheus?
Prometheus 2, the second one's coming up. So that's gonna
Listen,
be
man.
cool.
You know what? Let me ask you a question. You like Prometheus, but how mainstream is Prometheus? Now, this is a story, once again, if you're not too familiar with it, this is like where the aliens became like this is like the movie
origin
before
kind of
Alien.
The prequel,
yeah, like an
so to
origin
speak.
story.
Yeah, like you had aliens, and then like 16 aliens after that. It really didn't matter about anything. But Prometheus, this is like this is like the prequel to the Alien movie.
Yeah.
correct?
Alien, yeah.
Well, you know what? I started to the first time I watched it, it was just I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into it. I mean, because I'm thinking of Alien. I didn't really,
Yeah.
Alien and Aliens.
When you're thinking of aliens, it's hard to get into it. But when you think about it in that
in the story
context
part
of,
of it.
hey, this is all it came to be, then you kind of learn, and I watched, you'd have to, I don't know what it is now, but I watched it on YouTube, a thing where it showed all the reasons they did the things they did and what led up to Aliens and the similarities. And man, it really made me want to watch it again. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I see how, I know what that means now. So
I got you.
Maybe if you didn't like it the first time, maybe you can go back and
I could see where it's confusing
revisit
to
it.
a lot of people that like Aliens now.
Right, right. Well, let me tell you a movie that I don't like, and I can't believe Disney's doing this, but one movie that I like less every time I watch it is Avatar. The first time I've seen Avatar, I absolutely loved Avatar. The second time I watched it, I was like, man, I'm not really down. I'm losing interest but I've watched it about 4 times.
The 3D one was great. It was captivating.
Absolutely.
We went and saw that in the theater, 3D. That was actually my first 3D since I was a kid with the little paper glasses.
By the 4th time I watched it, though, I just fast forwarded to the very end of where they were flying the stuff in there to take them out of the tree, the Christmas tree thing there. Well, that's what I mean. But I cannot believe that they're coming out with an Avatar 2.
Yeah.
But what I can't believe is the fact that Disney thinks Avatar is so big that they're actually going to build like a theme park like they're doing with
off of one movie.
Yeah.
I don't
It'd be
understand
different if there was a
that.
trilogy and it was popular.
Like Star Wars.
Who the hell even talks about Avatar?
It was big for a
Nobody
couple
does.
months when it was out.
That was it, man.
James Cameron doing the next one? He doing that next one?
I have no. I don't know.
I thought so.
I don't know. I don't know. But the bad
He's
thing
good.
is, what spurned this is that you have the Harry Potter thing down there, which was at Universal or one of those down there, which I think would be fantastic.
David and Ryan went down and they said
I bet it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But then I didn't see, they had this Star Wars thing. We were talking the last podcast or two ago about when this amusement world, when Disney was going to have their big Star Wars park down there. Dude, it's not going to be the 2019, 2020 at the earliest.
Really?
Damn, that's
Because
a long time.
They have all these different parks they're putting in, one of them being Avatar. And I'm thinking, who cares? Who gives a shit
Build
about
Star Wars, damn it.
Why
Put
would you
Avatar
not?
on the back burner, get the Star Wars done. That's where the money is.
How much money is Avatar going? Who is going to? What kid is going to say, "Hey, let's go to the Avatar park"? It's in their like wildlife refuge thing, whatever, Wild Kingdom or
I'm not
something
taking
like
my
that.
kids there.
Listen, I could care less about
Who
Avatar.
cares?
It's not like I'm going to buy a lunchbox.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Exactly. Why would you delay all that? I just don't understand it. I do not understand that business model. Maybe I should be running Disney.
No.
I think that maybe I should run Disney. Then that way it'll all be Star Wars and Indiana Jones. What other movies did they buy besides those two?
I don't know. Disney owns ABC too, so I don't.
Yeah, but what different movies are under Lucas? I mean, they have Industrial Light and Magic. They got that.
Skywalker. They do some kind of
Lucasfilm stuff.
Well,
yeah. Find out what franchises are under Lucas. What movies under? Let's see. We'll do this, and we'll get the hell out of here. What movies? Because I know it's Indiana Jones and Star Wars for sure.
Dead Space.
No. See, it's nothing but Star Wars stuff and Indiana Jones. I mean, I don't consider the Clone Wars. If it's Star Wars, it's Star Wars as far as that goes.
Ooh, that's a Predator.
How much did they buy that? How much did they buy that thing for? $4 billion or something like
$4 billion. They bought
That's ridiculous.
Lucasfilms, $4 billion. But you know what? Listen, they're going to make that $4 billion back pretty quick.
Did you know there was a movie? Now listen, you know American Graffiti. That's the first time I ever saw Harrison Ford. Sort of like a Happy Days kind of movie.
Yeah, but listen, that thing did real good too.
Oh no, listen. Did you know there was a movie in 1979 called More American Graffiti?
No.
Never heard of that before in my life.
You remember what is it? What the Corvette Summer?
Corvette Summer with
that was a Mark Hamill. He was in that one. Probably no one's ever.
I remember
seen
it. Didn't he drive a orange Corvette? It was like a.
He went out. It was out.
Yeah,
it was like some sort of a Stingray thing. Now check these out. I'm going to give you some of these, and these are the one that Lucasfilm that Disney bought, and I'm not going to read them all, but you'll know some of them. American Graffiti.
Yeah.
And then a Morgan.
Why would they even buy it?
You have all the Star Wars stuff.
So this kind of encompasses Lucasfilms. So when they bought Lucasfilms, they bought like the rights to all this stuff.
They bought everything Lucas. Everything that Lucas had, they bought.
Okay.
Everything.
Right.
Raiders of the Lost or Indiana Jones, all of that stuff. Twice Upon a Time. I don't even remember that movie.
Never heard of that.
Never heard of that.
What was
one.
it?
Twice Upon a Time.
Nope.
Latino in 1985. You ever heard of that one?
Nope.
Sounds racist.
How about
What?
how about Mishima? A Life in 4 Chapters. Never heard of that.
Never heard of that.
Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
I guess.
Yeah, I've heard of
I
that.
think I've heard of that.
Okay. Well, I do know Howard the Duck.
Already there.
Willow. Know
I
that.
have heard of that.
Tucker.
Yep, heard of that.
Land Before Time.
Yep, that's the animated thing.
Radioland Murders. Never heard of that.
Um,
Red Tails. Know that one.
Yeah.
did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Big disappointment.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't see it then.
I bought the DVD.
Strange Magic. It must be coming out sometime this year.
No,
If
no,
it hasn't
no, no.
already.
Strange Magic came out already. That's the one with the little fairies. It was an animated thing too, I think.
Oh, I
That was a
thought.
couple years old.
Oh, I see. And then the
He's
next
into
two are going to
fairies.
be
I like fairies.
that they had in the works was a Force Awakens and Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Rogue One. You know what that?
Those are going to be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, they absolutely will.
Can't wait to see the Boba Fett one.
You know what? I'm just glad out of all the things that Disney bought, they decided to get the Star Wars Holiday Special from 1978 because that thing
That's
right there is
awesome.
just,
That
oh,
is
my
the-
goodness gracious.
You know,
most horrible thing I have ever seen in my life.
You know, though, what I'm surprised about, and now that Disney owns it, they're really expanding upon it, like making these other movies like Rogue One and the Boba Fett stuff.
Right.
I'm surprised none of that stuff, like as big as Star Wars is, they never took off on any of that stuff. They just stuck with, we got these movies,
And
it's big, we'll do a few things here and there, that's it. There's not. It never spawned off onto 50 things.
It was more like dorks like us writing books, and then you would have to have the endorsement if you wanted it to be the merchandising part of it. But as far as like taking it big, and this might be to a detriment at the same time. Maybe Lucas didn't do this because this thing survived, 38 years now?
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been an oversaturation of it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a huge expanded universe
Expanded
that
universe.
people books and books and books and books. And
Well,
books.
but for your mainstream, when you're talking about making, how many $50 million movies or however much, $90 million movies, and if you make one of those every single year, when's it going to get to the point of where it's like,
Too much.
okay,
Too much.
I'll wait till it
We're
comes
not
out on
making
Blu-ray.
anything off of these either.
Well,
Yeah.
It's
because
covering the
these
cost.
these movies that they're making, they're supposed to come out with one like every year, right?
Every single year, there's going to be a Star Wars movie.
So is that
every
is
single
that going
year?
to be too? Now, for somebody like we're Star Wars nerds, but is that just going to be
You know what?
too much?
Let me tell you. For me,
They'll have my money.
see.
Yeah, I'll go, but man, I'm like,
I can see that it's going to get to a point, but just like everything else, originally like this, 7's going to be kick-ass. Rogue Story is going to be cool. Boba Fett movie is going to be cool. Number 8's going to be cool. And hopefully number 9 will be cool. The main story is going to be cool. But these little side, after a while, they're going to are they going to run out of ideas, and it's going to be
And then
like
you have video games for each of them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then
then you still got
lunchboxes.
Star Wars Rebels. You watch Star Wars Rebels?
Yeah. I don't watch it, but I need to.
Yeah, it's pretty good for animated.
It's set between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope.
Yeah, it's good though. I
Very
like
nice.
It. I watch it with the kids.
Hey, but anyway, nice, successful evening tonight on the podcast. We talked to Tony from Tucson, or as Todd likes to say, Tucson.
Why do you say I don't say that? I've never said Tuxkin.
That's because where he goes to get his
Tucson.
tan.
He goes
He
Tucson.
goes
I
to
want to
go-
go to Tucson,
He
Arizona.
goes to the tanning bed there.
We talked to Tony, and we had a great conversation with him, and just did a regular Star Wars love storyboard, which we might have to delete out because that wasn't one of the better things that we've ever
I
done.
thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, I think it's funny too.
It'll get better with time.
What was the first segment that we talked about? Seems like it's been hours ago, and I think it probably has been by now.
I don't
A turkey trot. We had a great time at the turkey trot. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And that's I think we were talking about Black Friday and people beating the hell out of
Yeah.
each other for basically junk that they probably aren't even using now.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks again for listening to Rogan Radio. Be sure to check us out on our Facebook page at Rogan Radio. That also includes Twitter, Google Plus, and YouTube.